Hello everybody, my name is Zach with Flohr Pools, and today we're going to be talking about treating your pool over the winter if you have a loop lock winter cover. There's a couple times that we want to do this, the first being around Thanksgiving and the second around the beginning of March. So before we get started, it's very important that we work with all this kind of stuff outside, specifically the chemicals, so I will meet you there. So there's 4 items that we're going to need before we get started. Number 1, the loop lock installation rod. Number 2, Algatrol Plus. Number 3, Chlorine. And number 4, a bucket. If you have 30,000 gallons or over, we're recommending that you do 4 pounds of the chlorine and 2 bottles of Algatrol Plus. If you have under 30,000 gallons, you can do the normal 2 pounds of granular chlorine and 1 quart of the Algatrol Plus. Additionally, anytime you mix chlorine, you always want to make sure you're adding chemical to water. Water in the bucket first, and then you add the chemical to the water. That way no bad reactions occur. So step 1 is going to be to pre-mix the chlorine in the bucket. And as you'll see here, we are just mixing this up, and we want to mix it up as best as we can because we want to use as much as we can from the first toss in, because I'm going to recommend when you get half of the bucket in that you refill it with water so that it does mix up better, and then we're going to go ahead and pour it into the other corner. So in order to get the cover off of the corners of the pool, we want to use this loop lock installation rod. And please note that there's actually a notch, and this is really important because we want the long part of the notch to be facing towards the pool, and then we're going to firmly twist it, and now the spring is out and we're going to pull back. We're going to repeat another 3 times. So step 3 is going to be actually adding the chemicals to the water. So what we're going to do with that bucket that we mixed the chlorine up in is we're going to go ahead and add a half a bucket to one of the corners. Before we get to the other corner, I would recommend that you add more water to it and mix it up again. That way you don't have any dry residual chlorine laying on the bottom of the bucket. Once you have the chlorine in the water, go ahead and take your Algatrol Plus and dump half of the bottle directly in the one-sided corner. And then just repeat that again on the other side. Now that we're done with the chemicals, we are going to go ahead and take the springs again, and we're just going to do what we did before, just in reverse. I highly recommend using your foot here, getting that back on. It makes life a lot easier. Finally, we just want you to place the installation rod away. Make sure it's cleaned up and rinsed off or whatever you need to wipe it off with. And then empty all of the chemical containers, and then you can dispose of them.